Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the 100 Black Men of Metropolitan St. Louis. I am Dr. Glenn T. Miller. I am the chair for the Health and Wellness pillar here at St. Louis, and I am sitting with one of our giants in the 100 Black Men industry, Jessie Swanigan, who has been gracious enough to allow me to sit and speak with him about his experience, about the background of the 100 Black Men, but most importantly, we're going to be talking about how you are able to stay so impeccably sharp.
Wow.
Right. You guys, you have to see it. Watching him come in. So he drove in, still driving the Cadillac. He gets out. He has the suit on. He is sharp. He is sharp as a tack, man. And I really do admire that. And to be able to see that type of level of excellence from you.
Thank you.
So no, thank you for taking the time to sit with me here. And I wanted to start by just kind of introducing you to those who may have never heard your name. They don't understand the impact of work that they benefit from that you've done. But let's just start simple with where you grew up, which I believe it was in the Illinois side, right? So why don't we start with that?
Okay. I grew up in what's called Cairo, Illinois. That's about 174 miles south of St. Louis. In fact, it's the last city in Illinois going south.
Wow.
I'm a product of the public school system there, graduate of Washington Elementary School, graduate of Sumner High School. Both schools were completely segregated. I came up through that system where we had to, shall we say, get the hand-down books from the white schools. So that's sort of the background of my education, elementary and high school. I came to St. Louis. I did some work at Washington University. Was the first African American back in 1951 that was admitted to WashU. I did 2 semesters there. Then I transferred to the University of Illinois in Champaign, came back to St. Louis and graduated from WashU with a BA in accounting, and then went on to get an MBA from St. Louis University in finance.
Wow. So you was able to travel through between St. Louis, Central Illinois, back and forth. And as you were saying, you were doing this during, I would say, the harsher times than what we're experiencing today.
Oh, much harsher times. Yeah.
What was that like? What were some of the common negative events that you had to overcome? Like what was like the daily experience for you?
Well, the daily experience was realizing that, shall we say, that you were not getting the best education possible because it was not provided to you. Of course, we had good teachers, but we didn't have adequate materials. Just for instance, the Cairo library we could not use. So we had a very, very small library within the high school that we could use. The public pool in Cairo we could not use. And after the civil rights movement, what they did was to fill in the swimming pool with concrete, so that although things had changed, we could still not use the pool.
Wow.
So it was very harsh moving up. And also, in those days and times, you went to the back doors. You didn't go through the front doors, okay? You had to say Mr. and Mrs., et cetera, to the white people that you met on the streets, et cetera. So it was very, very harsh. But we as African Americans, we are survivors. And I was able to survive that situation and to move on and to make a better life for myself. This is what my mother, who was a single parent, wanted for us 4 boys, was to be able to pull ourselves up and to get education and to move ahead.
I think that that is still a movement that our mothers, and I also come from a single parent home where my mother was raising just me and my sister, but they want the same thing. They want us to get an education and to for me, example, be a good provider. you know, to get out there and to get into the workforce and be a shining example. What do you think is the challenge now versus then? And when I say that, you think about how intentional and determined you were to get your education, to graduate, despite the resources that you have. And I don't think it's the same as today. So what do you think is the challenge now for the younger adults or children as they're going through this education system?
Well, I hate to say this, but I think along the line, and shall we say going from when I came up to where we are right now, we had a generation in there who wanted to give, the parents who wanted to give their children everything possible. And in doing so, they overdid it, because the children coming up in that generation they came out with great expectations of having this, having that, but not knowing how to go about building or earning the resources that were necessary to provide themselves with those items. So I think we made a mistake, and consequently now we have where our youth, if they cannot find ways of getting those things that they want, that they were used to, that have been provided by their parents, then they take other means.
So other means, you mean we're looking for the non the non-legal ways of getting these resources?
Yes. Plus, back then in my generation, there was a strong degree of supervision with the parents.
Yeah.
You did not do this, you did not do that. Now it's completely different, because we have what I call children raising parents, parents raising their children in that environment. And they become more of a, rather than a parent-child arena, they become a buddy-buddy type of situation, which is not good. Because how can you tell a child, shall we say, you can't do this, you can't do that, when you're on a buddy relationship with them?
Yeah. Woo! Well, I didn't know he was going to bring that type of fire to what is the term I've been hearing? When you ain't wrong when you're right.
Okay.
Well, 100% right. And so speaking of buddy and family, you say you grew up with 3 brothers?
Yes.
Was it just you 4?
Yes.
And how was you all's relationship growing up? How did that impact you to, sustaining the momentum as you was going through?
Of my brothers and myself, I was considered the nerd. So consequently, our relationships was not the best that there was, but we respected each other, and we got along very, very well. My brothers pursued, shall we say, non-educational careers, but I pushed myself. Though coming from a small town and a single parent, I worked my way through college and whatnot, which was good because I don't have any student loans and whatnot. But it was a chore. For instance, sometimes I had to break off from a semester and go to work and earn some more money, and then to come back. Also, shall we say, while in college, there were times where things I wanted to do that I couldn't do. For instance, I pledged Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, but I couldn't follow through because I had to eat. So that meant I got a job working in the cafeteria, which not only gave me my meals, but I had some little extra money to do the laundry, etc.
Yeah. I understand. So you were, would we say, considered to be a non-traditional student then?
What do you mean by non-traditional?
So non-traditional are typically, we look at students who are usually older than the class population. At times they might have to drop out, or they don't take a full semester.
No, I wouldn't consider myself a non-traditional. I was in the same age bracket, but it was just that I had to take periods off and then come back.
And then come back to it. Got it.
But it was good because I got some work experience. I was able to, shall we say, after growing up in small town in Cairo, to have some go with some of my cousins in Chicago and experience, shall we say, the big city. In fact, I think that's where I learned all of my things that I shouldn't be doing.
So you was out in summertime shy.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Having a good time. Huh?
Oh yes, that's where I grew. I actually say that I grew up in Chicago with the relationships with my cousins on my father's side.
Family in Chicago, especially in Chicago, is fun. Shout out from the South Side, born and raised, just throwing that out there.
It's fun, but you have to have some goals in mind,
Yes.
and you have to know, shall we say, where you want to go and who you want to be with, etc. Because if not, if you get wrapped up into, shall we say, that movement, you lose focus.
Yes.
And I can say that I lost focus.
So let's talk about that. Some of the things I think that are very common as men, as we're developing, and when we get to, especially when we get close to collegiate times, is we lose focus. And it's something my mom said, you lose focus chasing skirts. She used to say that a lot about my cousins and us. We get to us, and they was like, "Oh, you just woman happy. You see so many different possibilities out there. So they're going out and they're looking to date and be with somebody." What was that like for you? Was you pressured to be with someone? Was you looking to get married early? Like, what was that like?
Well, I was considered a playboy.
Here we go. Okay.
And I did the circuit with no plans in mind of getting married, but of enjoying the situation. And of course, that was the other side, knowing that, shall we say, I had to look after myself because there was nobody else that I could turn to look to. So that meant that I had to think in terms of my own survival, but on the other side, of course, to have a relationship. But to having a relationship, making sure that there was understanding, there are limitations.
Oh, yes. What was these the limitations that you had to build up experience?
You digging deep.
Yes. This is the barbershop talk. This is what we want to know.
The limitations were that, shall we say, we can be friends. We can go out together. I love going to the theater. I love going out for dinner, but it's not always the expense is not always going to be on me. This is going to be a two-way situation because we understand what life is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was part of the limitation. Other limitations were don't try to put any pressures on me after we get into this limited relationship because I've explained to you up front my limitations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that happened a number of times.
Well, you said you was a hard-working man. You was determined. Playboy. I'm telling you, I know about summertime shy. It's you want to talk about getting distracted? You go there for a week and you don't want to come back. So
there is a difference between St. Louis and Chicago. Believe me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you did come back.
I came back because what I realized was that I was doing okay after I graduated. I was doing okay in Chicago, but living the lifestyle that I was living, I knew that, shall we say, there was no future. And coming back to St. Louis, where it was more milder, I found that I could get more involved in, shall we say, some of the community issues, get more involved in doing things in the community, and at the same time to really find my true self.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's perfect to kind of lead up to the 100.
Okay.
So I'm presuming that kicked off for you after you returned back. How did you get involved with the conception of the 100 Black Men of America and just involved to this level of leadership with bringing it here to St. Louis?
Okay, there's two levels now.
Okay.
There's 100 Black Men of Metropolitan St. Louis, and then there's 100 Black Men of America Incorporated. Let's start with 100 Black Men of St. Louis. Dr. Freda Witherspoon, she was a socialite in St. Louis. She was involved in, shall we say, forming a number of social groups, like working with the NAACP Auxiliary, the Top Ladies of Extension, etc., and a number of other groups. And she subscribed to a number of African American newspapers across the country. So she would know what was going on across the country in regard to African Americans. And what she noted in, shall we say, a publication from New York was a group called 100 Black Men. And so she thought that would be something great for St. Louis. So one of her mentees was Frederick Wright. And Frederick Wright lived just down the street here on Baird. He was a social worker, and he sort of followed her around, picking up all of her ideas, etc., going to all the meetings and dinners, awards, etc. So she said to him, Fred, I think this is something you should look into in regard to this type of organization for St. Louis. So Fred contacted individuals in New York who were members of that chapter and got information. And he contacted me, and he said that he would like to, shall we say, start the process of perhaps establishing a chapter of 100 Black Men in St. Louis. At that particular point in time, I was extremely busy with formalizing the Black MBA Association in St. Louis, the Black Accountants Association in St. Louis, and a couple other groups that I was involved in. So I said to him, I said, Fred, I can't take this on, but I will work with you to, any way possible, to make this come to fruition. So what we did, we put together a list of about 100, what we call 100 Black men in St. Louis that we call as movers and shakers. And we invited them to a meeting. That meeting was held on West Bell in a building that had just been given to women in hardship by the city of St. Louis. That's where we had our first meeting. So we invited, shall we say, about 100 people, and I would say of the 100 that we invited, about 90 showed up, which was great. So Fred didn't have any money, so I assumed most of the expenses of the mailing, etc., because he was a social worker. So at that meeting, we presented the idea of what was going on with 100 Black Men and what their goals and objectives were, and discussed with them in a brainstorming session what would be the possibility, would you support an organization like this in St. Louis? So we got a positive yes. So we had the second meeting, and it was very good, attendance-wise. Then the third meeting, when we started talking about money, the attendance dropped off. Yeah. But we were able to put together, shall we say, a St. Louis chapter of 100 Black Men, and that was 40 years ago.
Yes, yes. We reached our 40th anniversary last year.
Last year, you're going into the first year right now.
Yes. So we were able to celebrate that. And what was that like for you, jumping forward a little bit, being able to celebrate 40 years of the Metropolitan St. Louis chapter?
It was a very good experience. There was a little hardship that I experienced. The hardship that I experienced was that 100 Black Men of America Incorporated didn't have a representative present for the 40th anniversary. Mm-hmm. There were some misconceptions, miscommunications in regard to getting someone here for that ceremony. But again, it was a great experience. Yeah. And also it was a great experience because what I'd seen in the last leading up to that last few years, there was a decline, I could say, in regard to the movement in St. Louis in regard to 100 black men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, it was a great experience.
Okay.
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 Now, to take it to the next level, as you were talking, I mentioned there's 100 black men of Metropolitan St. Louis, and then there's 100 black men of America Incorporated. Okay. In the New York chapter, there was a person by the name of Dr. William Haley. He's a gynecologist, and he was one of the founders of the New York chapter. Dr. Haley moved to New Jersey, and he established a chapter of 100 black men in New Jersey. Then he moved to LA and became head of the gynecologist, I can get that word right, department there.
Okay.
I think it was Martin Luther King Hospital or something. And he established a chapter in Los Angeles. So Dr. Haley, at that particular point in time, St. Louis was in operation. So Dr. Haley had the idea of, look, let's form a national organization.
Mm-hmm.
So what he did was to send out communication saying to those chapters and some groups that were just starting with an idea of working with 100 black men. He said, let's meet in Las Vegas and let's talk about this idea of establishing a national organization. So we had about 3 meetings in Las Vegas, and out of that, those 3 meetings was produced 100 Black Men of America Incorporated. Now, Dr. Haley, who was a very easygoing person, he was able to shall we say, keep the group together. Picture, shall we say, black men, African American men, coming from all across the country, different backgrounds, egos, etc.,
Yeah.
and pulling them together to try to come up with an idea in a brainstorming process of a new group.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, to give you, for instance, people coming from LA, we had basically doctors. In fact, one guy flew in on his own plane. Coming out of New Jersey, we had like a lot of lawyers. Coming from Indianapolis with a football player. From St. Louis, we had these poor boys coming in. But Dr. Haley was able to, shall we say, pull us together,
Yeah.
and out of that to, shall we say, come up with 100 Black Men of America Incorporated. So the group from St. Louis that was attending those meetings decided that, okay, once we came up with the name of 100 Black Men Incorporated, that we wanted a position in that new organization.
Yeah.
So what happened was Dr. Haley became president. As I say, he was a gynecologist. Attorney Oliver Lofton, who was a U.S. attorney out of New Jersey, became our vice president. Moses Gray, who was a football player out of Indianapolis, became the secretary, and I became the treasurer because I had the only financial background in the group at that particular point in time. That was the start of 100 Black Men of America Incorporated, and that was 38 years ago. We're going into our 39th year. We have been very, very fortunate. We have our own building in Atlanta, which is paid for. We have a full staff, a CEO, director. We continue to grow. Now we have 104 chapters right now because we just took on 2 new chapters, and we have 2 foreign chapters, one in London and one in Chaos. I can't remember. Was one of the islands down there.
Yes.
Okay, so we have 104 chapters now, and we operate out of our home building in Atlanta. And I have become, in my old age, treasurer emeritus. I sit on the executive committee, and I sit on the board of directors.
This will be a moment that if people were here, we'll be clapping. Because, no, that is, and it deserves an applause and recognition. And it is an overwhelming feeling of when they say history is being written. And I'm sitting with an author not just an historian, but an active author in writing histories when we're having this conversation. I feel that. So that is amazing.
Well, it was quite an experience. As I say, we started 100 Black Men of America Incorporated with 5 chapters. It was St. Louis, Alton. Fred and I established the Alton, Illinois chapter, Indianapolis, New Jersey. What am I missing? In L.A.
In LA, yeah.
That were the first 5 chapters, and I became not only the treasurer, but I was given the responsibility to produce the first 5 conferences. Keeping in mind that we're a new organization, we didn't have any money. Dr. Halen would say, Jesse, we got to do this, this, and this. I said, we don't have any money. Find a way to do it.
Yep. Yes. No excuses accepted.
So we were able to do that. Of course, again, there were some instances as being the treasurer, as most treasurers know, that you intersperse your own funds to keep it going, and you may or you may not get your funds back.
Yes.
I remember, this might be a little bit off target, Dr. Halen decided we were, we after our meetings in Las Vegas, we would meet up at the Congressional Black Caucus in D.C. And so Dr. Halen said, Jesse, we'd like to have an event at the Black Caucus next year. I said, Dr. Halen wouldn't have any money. He said, well, here, I'm going to give you this lady that's going to work with you, and you work with her, and you'll make it happen. So, of course, I put up my American Express card to make the arrangements and to guarantee with the hotel, etc., and whatnot. So to protect myself, this is very comical, I decided that I would be on the door collecting the money. However, what happened, we didn't collect enough money. And of course, if you know about American Express, when that bill comes, you got to do what?
You got to pay it.
You got to pay it.
Yes.
So that's the reason I don't have an American Express card today, because I couldn't pay it right away. I had to pay it later. That's we formed this organization, 100 Black Men of America, working together. Again, like, give you another example. Our second president, we were meeting in Los Angeles, no, in San Francisco, and he had to put up his card to guarantee the hotel bill, etc., because the money had not come in from our sponsors. And even, shall we say, once we got started, kicked off the conference, we still didn't have the money. And so the treasurer had to make some moves to try to find how to handle the expenses. Now, St. Louis did play a part in it because, as I mentioned, for those first 5 chapters, that we had the conventions at St. Louis. We had the convention here in St. Louis in 1992, and it was a great conference. We did something here in the conference that hadn't been done before. That was we had a boat cruise. Before I did that, floated down the Mississippi River. We had one bad thing that happened. We lost money, of course. But one thing that happened in that experience was that the person that was responsible for securing a band for the cruise selected a Western band. And that music did not go over very well with 100 black men floating down the Mississippi River.
Needless to say,
I'm sorry, I
you
went
guys
off
didn't have Apple Music or anything.
Nope.
Couldn't work this. So for our younger generation, there was a period of time where either you have radio or you have live band. That was it. And radio was a lot of talk. Right? We didn't have podcasts. We just listened to the radio. Sports was on the radio. Just whatever you were interested in, it was radio. That means you just listened to a speaker. That was it. And then you have the record players, which for me growing up, the record player we couldn't touch. So growing up, I couldn't touch the records.
Right on.
When they was at home.
Right.
But no. Oh, but so thank you for that. And it was something you said I wanted to kind of highlight, bringing in all of those professional men early on. And just want to acknowledge, but you were the only one with the finance background. You know, and I see that as we know, as we have four major pillars, economic being one of them, and health and wellness being one of. But the economic pillar, was it surprising for you to see that you were the only one with all these professions? You say you got doctors, you got lawyers, you got professional athletes, you have all of these professionals coming in, but you're the only one who had the background with finance.
I wasn't surprised because, shall we say, in those days, you either became a lawyer, a doctor, or a teacher. Those were the main professions that you went into. And as we expanded through the years, then we did pick up becoming engineers, architects, financial planners, etc. But back then, no, it didn't surprise me. No.
And what about, how do you feel like that shaped what we are experiencing in the black culture now when it comes towards financial literacy or financial well-being?
Okay, I think we're just now, as African Americans, we are just coming into, shall we say, full fulfillment in regard to financial literacy. This generation will be the first generation that has had the opportunity to accumulate capital and to leave something for their children. See, prior to this, it was a matter of survival, okay? And you did whatever you could to survive. There was no thought of saving, etc., because you were living day to day. But now, as we have become more professional and whatnot, realizing that at some point in time you're going to retire and you're going to need something to retire upon, and knowing that you can't depend upon your children to take care of you, I think that whole concept has changed so that now we have become more financial literate. But I don't think that we have completely moved over thoroughly, because there's still, shall we say, a segment of our population, though they're doing very well financial-wise, they are overspending because of trying to keep up with the Joneses, and consequently, they look up and they are in their 60s and they have no savings. And they know that from what they've heard, they can't depend upon Social Security. Okay.
Yeah. When your generation got to the, let's say, retirement age, what was their economic climate? What was it like for your generation during that period of time?
For my generation that came along, it was basically part-time jobs and Social Security. That was it, and you had to survive with that. Okay. And of course, that's when a lot of government programs came along to, shall we say, to help out. But that's it. That's what they survived upon. Yeah.
So it wasn't a real retirement. It was
no. It wasn't a retirement. No, it was a matter of shall we say, not working full time, but having to work to bring in some funds to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what?
Just for instance, my mother never retired. She started out as a maid, taking in laundry, and on up until her death, she was still taking in laundry, which I didn't want, but she said that she couldn't sit and hold her hand. She had to do something.
Yeah. Preserves. That's just staying active. And is that kind of what you're doing today? Do you still continue to work, you stay active?
I'm not working anymore. I don't want a job. I did 35 years at Boeing, which was prior to that was McDonnell Douglas, and I retired from there as a corporate auditor. I was the first African American corporate auditor for the Boeing company. Then after I retired from there, I started teaching at the University of Missouri St. Louis, and I taught finance there for 20 years. So I've retired from both of those, okay? I have had a number of board positions and whatnot down through the years. I've headed a number of organizations, but at this particular point in my life, I'm slowing down. I've given up a lot of the boards, but I'm not going to just stop and do nothing. In fact, my primary doctor says that that's the worst thing in the world when you've been very active, is to stop and start doing nothing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think it is very important to continue to move. And please let me, or share with us, how old are you today?
I'm going on 91.
You're going on 91, right? But having this conversation with you, honestly, it's not what we imagine growing up. When we talk to someone that's 90, you're very sharp, you're very mobile, very cognate of where we at, space, time, and everything. And your memory is definitely intact. So the question I want to know is, what would you say contributed towards that? Was it because you stayed active, you didn't slow down? Do you feel like that played a part for you?
Definitely. I've been active all my life because, as I mentioned previously, I had no one to depend upon. Okay, so I had to make sure that I had a good job, so that I could eat and I could pay the bills. So that meant staying active, and in staying active, as far as employment was concerned, then I found out that I really enjoyed, shall we say, working with different organizations, working with people, etc. One of my knacks I found out was in organizing an organization. I enjoy that. I enjoy putting, shall we say, an organization together, putting all the pieces. But after that, I don't want to stay with it. I want to pass it on for others to pick it up and to move with that model that I established. Okay, and I have used that model for a number of different organizations that I became a part of. Okay. Of course, I'm still busy right now just with 100 Black Men because I'm Treasurer Emeritus. I sit on the Executive Committee and I sit on the Board of Directors. And that entails at least 4 or 5 traveling trips per year just for that.
Yeah.
And of course, then there is a lot of times chapters want me to visit their chapter, talk to their members, etc. So that's there. As I say, I've limited myself to other organizations now that I'm working with. In fact, I've got it down to 3.
Wow.
3 boards that I sit on.
So are we flying private when we go out there? I can only imagine.
I wish.
Well, which that is outstanding, and again, just kind of remarkable and refreshing to see. It's really inspiring for me. So it's no secret that within our community, especially for Black men, that we don't have a long life expectancy, which is why I feel the health and wellness pillar is one of the most very important pillars for us to get involved with, to initiate programs with, and to continue to engage and advocate for. In the early inception of the 100 Black Men, how do we define these different pillar programs, and to your knowledge, what was the understanding as why health and wellness became a part of that? Because it's not the same as other Black organizations. I don't see them always putting a huge emphasis on that part.
Well, we realize that for African American men, you're hesitant in regard to going to a doctor and making appointments. You're hesitant in regard to checking on your health. You usually wait until, shall we say, you're in dire pain. And then you start trying to find a doctor. There is no preventive measure. So what we realized in putting this in the pillar, that was one of the pillars, that we had to try to do something to bring to the attention of black males the urgency of taking care of themselves, of having regular doctor appointments, and of utilizing means and methods of, shall we say, better health in regard to food, in regard to life, in regard to future expectations. So, for instance, one of the things that came up was prostate cancer. African American men are dying, shall we say, at an alarming rate among prostate cancer, because they just don't want to, shall we say, discuss the subject. Okay, colon cancer. We don't want to discuss it. With my own 2 boys right now, I've had a hard time just convincing them to go to a doctor to get checked out for prostate cancer. It was like I almost had to go pick them up, put them in the car, and take them to the doctor themselves. So this urgency of, shall we say, trying to pass on to African American men the urgency of taking care of their health, and in taking care of themselves, then they become a better father to their families, and also they live longer and are better able to provide for their families. So that's some of the reasons we looked at health and wellness. Now, we are still focusing on health and wellness. For instance, the Dr. Mark Alexander, who heads the health and wellness unit for the national, at our board meetings, his thought process is you got to stop the meeting and stand up and walk around after about an hour.
I love that.
Okay. Also, you got to have water on the tables at all times. So these little simple things are important. I know myself, I hate water. But I found out, shall we say, that from my urologist, the importance of drinking water in regard to, shall we say, my kidneys, etc.
Yeah.
So I've learned how to, shall we say, keep a glass of water on my, when I was working, to keep a glass of water on my desk with some lemon to help it. And how to make sure that I get a certain amount of water in my system every day. But these are things you learn.
Yes, little tidbits like that
Little tidbits,
are really important. And as we talked about this before, from my understanding and research, we started initiating a program of sharing that message with other black men by going to the barbershops. So it seems as though when we started that initiative, we called it a barbershop tour, with the idea of going to, again, different barbershops, offering screenings, offering information about taking care of yourself and nutrition, et cetera. What do you remember about those times or of getting that started here?
I thought it was a great idea. I thought it was very, very successful. And I'm hoping that it can be rejuvenated. Now let me explain. I'm surprised you brought that up because I was just at the barbershop yesterday. And my barber's, I told my barber, I said I had to come in. I said, because I got an interview coming up and I got to get a haircut. And so he said, for what? I said, so I must want that black men. He said, well, I pass by that building down there on Delma all the time. What do you guys do? And so I gave him a brief synopsis. And I thought in the back of my head, we need to get that barbershop stuff started again, because it was a very effective method of communicating to black men in Metropolitan St. Louis the urgency of following through on their own health care. And so I'm hoping, I'm jumping ahead, I'm hoping that that can be started again. I understand there were some problems and whatnot, but hey, there's a way, as Dr. Halen would say, find the money.
Find the money, find the way. I am going to use that in the future in like any board conversations. Like, where we go? Just find it, make it happen.
That's it.
And you know what? I actually agree when I was doing the research, and I do remember just speaking when I became I started off as a co-chair right before COVID, and then during COVID and the years afterward, just started saying, okay, I'm just going to take it up because we need to make something happen. And my research, especially as of recent, about the barbershop tour and how now I see in Chicagoland, there's a company called Shop Docs, and they're doing the exact same thing. They're targeting beauty shops and barbershops to do screenings. There's some other organizations on the East Coast, very similar, where you can sign up and make appointments for someone to do your screening at the barbershops. We may know and understand why that was such a great marketing and PR moment. Things are a little bit different now, but can you speak on why it was a great idea to take this message towards the barbershops during that time? Again,
Keep in mind that statistics show that prostate cancer continues to run rampant in the African American community, then and now. So it was important then to take this to a level and to a place where men congregate. It's often said that all problems are resolved at the barbershop, be it good or bad. So
true.
get involved in that conversation. Utilize that platform. It's a ready-made platform. Because any barbershop you go into, you're going to have the philosophers, the people who are involved in politics. They can tell you what should be done, who you should be voting for. Even they can tell you, shall we say, who you should be dating, etc.
The shop was a place for all great debates.
It's there, and it still is. Okay, and it's growing. It's growing in time, effort in the barbershop now. Let me explain. When I go into the barbershop, okay, it only takes about 15 minutes for my hair. But when you go in the barbershop, it takes much longer.
Yes.
Because you got to go through all that stuff. Okay, so now you got a longer period of time to meet more men in their space and to talk to them.
Yes. Oh, you're right. We come with a lot more designs now and products and
that's right.
enhancements. So and I noticed barbers are offering a lot more in order to elevate the experience. And so I want to pivot for a minute because it's still in a health and wellness space. But when I'm looking up the history of these health and wellness pillars and all of the subsequent missions for all of the different chapters, I always see this phrase, which was about enhancing the quality of life for Black men, or quality of life for our communities. Now, for you, what would constitute a good quality of well-being? Which I'm sure this may have evolved over a period of time, but what is your current definition to have a good quality of life?
Good quality of life would be where you're able as a Black man to provide for your family adequately, not keeping up with Joneses, but to provide adequately, to provide, shall we say, your kids with, shall we say, an adequate education, which would include college if they wanted to, or trade school, to provide some savings for your family so that you and your spouse, after the kids have moved out, you can live comfortably. To have, shall we say, in place a budget, and to have in place, shall we say, regularly visits to your medical professionals, so that each one of you maintain adequate health care, to make sure in this whole process that there is, shall we say, a spiritual component that wrapped all together would be what I would consider adequate.
Yes.
That's a mouthful.
No, but it's a beautiful definition.
Now, when I said the spiritual part, one of the things that's happening right now in the African American community is that we are getting away from that base that was responsible so much in our past for getting us to the place we are right now, and that is attending church services. I'm not going to say that I agree with some of the movements that's going on, but I feel that there should be a spiritual component within your being in regard to who you are and where you want to go. And I think it's important that we go back to that and that we pass that on to our children. Now, of course, the media has not been very good in helping us, because I know at my church, which is around the corner here, I don't know who's in the church anymore, because we have the Zoom on Sundays.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's who anymore. but
Yeah.
we need to some kind of way get back to that base that we had years ago. It was interesting that, and I'm getting off base here, on television the other day when President Biden was speaking at a church, and to see they folks the cameras over there, and there was this long pew of ladies sitting in their white dresses and their white hats, the mother's row, as we used to call them.
Yeah.
You know, that meant a whole lot coming up, because, brother, you better not act up.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
I got off base.
Well, better not. Yeah. But we also knew who had the candy in that front row too.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
true too.
But that sounds a lot like we're missing the very much the interpersonal part of community.
Oh yes, that's. I don't want to talk down social media, but I'm wondering in future generations how they are going to react, because they have no understanding of how to communicate. It's so strange when you go to a restaurant and you see a couple and they sit there and tell you both got their phones going. There's no communication back and forth. So how are you going to find out information about a person when you're sitting there on your phone?
You can't Google their name. That's what I said. I done Googled you today.
That's what they do a lot of times.
Yeah.
For the first date, they Google to find out something about the person. But keep in mind that everything that goes in is not correct.
Yeah.
But by the process of communicating with a person, looking a person in the eye, you can find out more about the person,
Yeah.
who they are, etc. And that, to me, is important.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering what's going to happen in the future. How are they going to establish a relationship when they sit there on the phone, when they're addicted?
Yeah.
One of the things that's happening right now is some of the public school systems, are coming out now to outlaw cell phones in the classroom. When I was teaching at the university, it was a problem, because you had students who were on their cell phones all the time. Also, a lot of times when you give an exam, you had to make sure that their cell phones were turned off, because they could take and copy stuff on their cell phones and whatnot.
They're cheating.
for the exam.
They're cheating.
I'm just saying what's going on.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's a problem.
Yeah. Yes.
Social media is okay, but hey, sometimes we got to check it. I'm concerned right now about what?
Oh, AI.
AI.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
wondering, hey, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And we haven't as of yet put any limitations on it. It's beginning to run rampant. Yeah. Okay.
No, and you're absolutely correct. So when it comes towards that, because we do have education as another part of our pillar, AI is starting to become very integral in the learning space. We have online courses, online classes.
I don't care for online classes.
Why is that?
There's no communication. Lack of, shall we say, interplay between the students in the class. You lose a lot, believe me, from being a professor for 20 years. I felt sorry for those students who now rely completely on online, because the interplay between students in the classroom provides a different level of educational experience.
Yes.
And I question a lot of times some of these universities, which are awarding degrees and doing it all online.
Well, what do you say about those who are, so we have a lot of what we call non-traditional students now. Those who similarly from the background, they have to work same time while they're in school. For them, online classes might be beneficial, but you still say they will be missing out on an important piece of the education. Okay.
Well, classes are offered at most universities. Classes are offered day and night. So consequently, I feel that you could make room if it's important for you. You could make room. For instance, I remember when I first started at WashU, a poor boy going to WashU. Okay. I had to take classes in the day and work at night. Okay. But I had to get to classes during the day. And I didn't have a car. So that meant that I'd get off work at 12 o'clock, I'd take the bus home.
Oof. Let me phrase it. Let me picture this, because I'm thinking about the viewers. I'm thinking about the people, millennials, younger than that will watch this and say, well, it's so much more dangerous for us now, or the violence in the streets, and they're saying all of this, but it wasn't necessarily safe for you to be traveling during that time, or was it? Because you say you was growing up through some hectic times for our race.
Okay. As far as safety is concerned, it was quite different then than now. Okay. I felt quite comfortable in taking a bus home at 12 o'clock at night, where now I wouldn't feel comfortable. Okay. So things have changed. And things have changed because we have lost, shall we say, that degree of teaching responsibility to our young adults, and working with them to understand that nothing in this life is free, that you have to earn it. And to earn it, especially on the level that you have become accustomed to, it means making some sacrifices. Okay. But yet times are different right now. I wouldn't do it now. No.
Absolutely. And like you said, we had to learn. So you have to learn from someone in order to build and facilitate the things that you have built so far.
Let me say one thing here in regard to what I just said. You know, years ago, growing up, my mother used to say, okay, you're going out to play, you're going here, but don't let the sun go down on you.
Yeah, that was street lights for us. Be home before the street lights come on.
What's going on with that right now? Do you hear that now?
No.
Okay. Do parents know where their kids are?
At home on an iPad most of the times. Otherwise, they don't.
I was just thinking about what happened, shall we say, for instance, downtown St. Louis recently,
Okay.
where these kids were caught shooting and carrying on, they released the kids to the parents. The parents, if the parents had known where their kids were, what their kids were doing, they wouldn't have had a gun. They got to get money someplace to get a gun. Now tell me, where did they get the money? How did they get the gun in the house and the parents didn't know about it?
There used to be a program that came on, and I remember this. I don't think it was Felicia Rashad. I think it was her sister who would come on at 7 o'clock. You know where your kids are. And I'm wondering, do we need to rebrand that and bring it back out?
The responsibility for raising your kids should be your responsibility. It should not be the community.
Ooh.
This thing about a village is okay. Village comes in okay, but the basic responsibility is your responsibility as a parent. You should know where your kids are at all time. You should know what your kids are doing. Now, as I said just prior, it's difficult for me to understand how a kid gets the money to go buy a gun, have that gun in the house, and you don't know about it. When you're providing the roof over their head and putting food on their table.
Let's go back to that buddy system that you're talking about versus being a parent and a child.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, the other piece to that was that coming up, I can remember in grade school, if I did something wrong in grade school, Miss Amos, she's a little bow-legged woman. She was the principal, and she had a paddle. And you did something, and you marched to her office, and you got your butt paddled. And by the time you got home, Mama was sitting there waiting. Because the news had gotten to her, and she was waiting for you to come in and explain, "Now what happened? Turn around." So we've lost all of that. I mean, it's okay to provide, shall we say, our kids with space, but we got to control this environment some kind of way. I think we have lost control of our own environment by, shall we say, opening up to our kids and giving them too much.
So, because this is perfect. So I'm about to add an addition towards this because it is it's a hot topic right now. So I'm just throwing it out there, but it's going to revolve around. I don't know if there was any limitations when it talks about your family. So if not, then the loss of control in the household. A lot of people would say will be due to the absence of father figures at home.
True.
And like I said, I grew up in a single parent home where my mother was the one who was raising me, and you grew up in a single parent home where your mother was raising you and your brothers. Let's talk about that. Let's kind of dissect that. It is not uncommon for us to find Black men today with absentee father figures at home. Why do you feel like that is the reason? Even for you, why was it that your father wasn't there or couldn't have been there?
My father wasn't there because my mother left my father.
Okay.
She determined that there was no future with him. And so that's a long story, she left and moved north from Arkansas to Cairo to be able to help her kids get an education and grow up. Okay. Today, what I'm seeing is that we have a whole group of young Black African Americans who consider the only way they can be called a man is to how many kids they can produce and leave. Some kind of way, we have got to work with our young Black men early to remove this idea from them of just getting kids and leaving them. That when they get a kid, that when they bring a kid into this world, that is their responsibility to give that kid everything possible so that kid can have a successful life. It bugs me when I see some African American men who have 5 or 6 kids by 2 or 3 different women. We got to stop that process. And I think that's where, shall we say, 100 Black Men can come into being, is to provide education for our young black males as to what their roles in bringing a child into this world, what their responsibilities should be. And I think we're not doing a good job at that, okay? Because it's completely getting out of hand. Now, of course, there's the other side to it also. In regard to that, we've got to teach young black men how to avoid, shall we, some of the things out there that's going to be thrown at them, and how to, shall we say, deal with those things coming from young black females. Because young black females nowadays look at life completely different than they did then, years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So that would be, and I'm going to make the guess that that is the reason why mentorship became another of our pillars within the organization.
Correct. Correct. Mentoring is very important. I remember years ago we did, here in St. Louis, we did a radio show. And at that particular point in time, we only had young teenage boys that we were mentoring. And I remember this lady calling in and say, I appreciate what you all are doing, but I have a son right now. He's 8, he's 9, and I don't know what to do. Saying basically what she was saying, you need to start earlier, because by the time they get to that teenage status, a lot of things have already set as far as patterns are concerned in their life. And it's going to be harder to make them change that focus. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons we started early with the emergence and whatnot, and then going up to the collegiate and whatnot. But I think we need to go back and put more emphasis on that.
Yes. Okay. So what are, well, we went over so far all of our pillars. We touched on health and wellness. We touched on education. We touched on economic empowerment, and we also touched on mentorship. And that has been like our central focus with the organization. Now I'm getting to the point of asking, what are, looking at this for over a span of over 40 years now, from what you've seen and where we're projecting the way, where we're heading in that direction, the direction that we're heading. What are your thoughts over the one achievement of the 100 Black Men, 100 Black Men of America and of Metropolitan St. Louis? And then what are your thoughts as far as where we're heading? Like, how can we improve? Something that we might want to gear and work towards.
Okay. At our annual conference, which a couple of weeks ago in Atlanta, we awarded the first Jessie C. Swanigan Economic Empowerment Award, and that went to a member of the New York chapter. On a national level, we are putting a lot of emphasis on empowerment, economic empowerment. Now, what our national chairman will say is that with these 4 pillars, they are underlined or underlaid with leadership. So we have got to get adequate leadership into all of these areas to help each one to move ahead on an equal basis. Okay. Now, some are moving ahead much faster, but we got to try to even the course right now, taking into consideration the climate that we're in, as far as African Americans are concerned, as for our future, we have got to look at, shall we say, more economic empowerment. Okay. We've got to plant that seed, and this is the time to do it, because with what's all going on around us, we got to capture the moment. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. But they all should be on the same level, and they all should be undergirded. That's the word I want. Undergirded by leadership. So we're constantly looking for leadership in all those areas to carry the program forward. And on a national level, we've been fortunate to have some young black men to come on with ideas that we've been able to, shall we say, move into the arena to help us as we try to move ahead in this new social media world.
Social media has definitely become a huge part, as we talked about, of the modern day life.
Yeah. For instance, when I mentioned moving ahead, for instance, one young man, and he'll be coming to St. Louis, I think this month sometime, is in regard to young black men vote. And we got that campaign going.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And the reason why I wanted to make sure that we get this interview recorded, because it's something that I want to be able to take tidbits on social media to share this. So
Okay.
again, thank you for that. So what about when it comes to Metropolitan St. Louis, which, like I said, this is the part we can keep here. What are areas here that we can focus on developing in order to move forward? Things that you would say that needs to be in place so that we can successfully get to our 100-year anniversary in St. Louis.
Wow.
Yeah, how do we?
You sound like my doctor now. I see my primary doctor every 4 months, and I just saw him a couple of weeks ago, and he's saying, okay, you've had all these shots now for the next 3 years. I'm putting together my list for 3 years from now. I said,
Yes.
You're getting ahead of me.
we have to strategically think ahead.
Okay, let's start this way. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the building. Okay, I think that we need to enhance the lobby. Okay, we had pictures of all the past presidents out there, etc. It's back there, packed up someplace. I don't know where it is.
I just found them.
But we need to enhance the lobby much better. Put in a couch out there, some chairs, tables, or something, to give it a more business atmosphere when you walk in the door. Not just this blank opening. Okay, that's as far as the building is concerned. I think that's an improvement that we can make. Okay, now in terms of the organization per se itself, one of the things that I'm pushing is in regard to this card. Have you seen the card? Okay. This is called a mission. It tells who we are. Now, what our national president is doing at all of our board meetings and whatnot, we start the meeting reading that card because it reminds us. It's like when you were growing up and you had to pledge allegiance in your classroom.
Yes.
Okay, we do that. I'm pushing to get that at all of our chapters across the country. The cards are available per se from the national office, as many as you want. But what a lot of groups, chapters are doing, they put it on the screen at their meeting. But this is the way we're trying to get the meeting started, because each time that brings forth who we are, what our values are, where we're going, etc. Self-explanatory. Okay, that's the first thing.
Love it.
The second thing is I'd like to see from St. Louis better participation in the district meetings. Okay. Now, this district is called the Jessie C Swanigan district, and it consists of St. Louis, Alton, Little Rock, Arkansas, Kansas City, Denver, and Tulsa. Okay. At those district meetings, you have an opportunity to meet brothers from all these other chapters and to find out what they are doing and also what programs they have. They may be doing a program that you want to do that they can help you with, shall we say, without you going out and trying to rebuild or start anew.
Mm-hmm.
And you can carpool to go to the district meeting. We just had a district meeting, well, in October, I think it was in Kansas City. But the district meetings to me are very important. We will have the Jessie C Swanigan district will have a Zoom meeting on, I think it's next Thursday or something like that. But I'd like to get more of the chapter members, the leaders of the committees involved in, shall we say, the district meetings. Because though you may not be able to go to the national, you can go to the district.
Yeah.
Now that's the other thing. To get more people going to the national. I know the national is very expensive, but what I found out is that once somebody goes to the national, they get a much better understanding of what this organization is all about because they see it in work. They see it see the action that's going on. They meet the people that's making it all happen. Okay. So I think that's important, okay? The next thing that I'd like to see here in St. Louis is what a lot of chapters are doing right now, and that is having, shall we say, a paid director. Now let me explain, and this takes a whole gamut. Some are paying their directors straightforward. Some maybe have a part-time director. Some where the director, him or her, have to raise their own money. But having a director who can work full-time or part-time at, shall we say, obtaining funds, meeting with corporate sponsors, etc., is very important. And I think that I like to see in St. Louis, okay? The next thing that I like to see in St. Louis is that we get a better handle on, and there's a sheet that I can show you later, of our mentees. In other words, what does it take to be a mentee on this level? What does it take to be here on the collegiate level? What are the requirements for them to move up and whatnot? We are now on the national level requiring that information because we have to, shall we say, give this information now to our sponsors because they're giving us millions of dollars. They want to know, what are you doing with our money?
Yep.
So you got to keep better records. So I'd like to see better records kept here in St. Louis as to those levels of mentees, okay? Which is important. A lot of chapters right now are establishing, I think we got started here, I'm not too sure, a wife-girlfriend auxiliary or something, where they work with the organization and just doing some things behind the scene to enhance the movement for 100 Black Men. I think that's very important. Trying to think of some of the those ones that
I had a feeling you have this on a list somewhere. He was like, "Oh, I'm ready."
Taking down my list here. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I feel you got a list.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You need to stabilize your membership.
Mm.
Okay. Let me explain what I mean by that. I don't get to come to your meetings too often, but when I come, I see a different group of people. I'm saying, what happened to the other guys? I have trouble with names, but I'm constantly trying to remember. Now, who are you? And somebody see me, they say, oh, in fact, I was at one of the members of the St. Louis chapter got an award over on the east side a couple of weeks ago, and I attended that award, and there was a guy sitting at the table. He said, oh, I'm a member of 100 Black Men. I said, oh, really? I never seen you before. So stabilize your membership. Okay. Then I want you to recruit what I call aggressively. Now, we have in St. Louis a number of Black men who are coming into positions of authority. We need to be recruiting them. Okay. I've been told that in some of the classes that we've had here recently, you bring them in and they can't pay the dues. You should find out that beforehand. But I feel that if you recruit aggressively, you can get members from the community where if they can't pay it themselves, their business or their corporation pays their membership. Okay, because it's a write-off. So I think that's something we could do in St. Louis. We want to involve the past presidents. What I've seen so often here in St. Louis is once a president goes out of office, that person disappears. You don't see them no more. And I call them and say, what happened? Well, I was upset, whatever. But you need to bring those past presidents in. Now, what I did years ago when I was working with St. Louis chapter, I had quarterly meetings, shall we say, with the past presidents, where I would let them know, I would involve them to let them know what was going on with the organization and involving them to get their support. Not, shall we say, waiting for something to happen and they say, oh, I didn't know about that. So involve the past president. The same way with new members. When new members come in, make sure you get them involved. Because if a person, you sit down with them to interview them, what are you interested in? These are our goals, these are our objectives. Where would you like to work? Get them involved, because if you get them involved, they will stay with you. But if you just leave it out there, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This one you may not like. Limit what I call paying events. Now, the last time I came to a meeting here some months ago, there was a complaint because something was going on. I think it was a golf tournament or something, and each member was requested to sell so many tickets or something, and the complaint was, we paid our membership, we didn't realize that there were going to be all these events that we got to put up money. So let's not be a Baptist church, okay?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love this.
Let's, shall we say, limit this. Understanding, I'm serious now, understanding that first of all, these guys are volunteers. A lot of them, shall we say, their wives may not be behind them 100% because they're taken away from their family, they're taking money away from their family. So let's understand that. Okay. The guy's not going to come and tell you, I can't do this because my wife says we don't have money to do it. He's not going to say that. So let's make sure we limit these what I call paying events. Now, also in 40 years here operating in St. Louis, there are a number of past members, people that used to be members. In fact, I'm constantly running into them. and one guy told me, see, I still got my pen. Okay. How about having, shall we say, I don't know what kind of name you're going to give it, a homecoming or something, and invite all those guys to come back and see what we can do to bring them back into membership. Because there's a lot of talent out there that we need to consider. Okay. The other thing that not going on as far as the chapter is concerned, we're not marketing ourselves. We're not publicizing who we are. Okay. If you note the Urban League, anytime you pick up the St. Louis American, there's something about the Urban League, something that they're putting on. Now, he's not getting the time, he's not paying for all the time. And so there's things that can be worked out. When I was president, I worked out deals and whatnot with the media to make sure that our events were publicized. So I think we need to better market ourselves. Okay. Along with that, I think we need to, in that marketing process, I'll give you an example. When you you bring in a new class and you're going to give them the pens and whatnot, and they take the pledge and whatnot, what I used to do, I made a big event of it. I sent out press notices, had a judge to administer the oath, etc. Get it out there, publicize everything, take the opportunities. So I think that we need to do a better job with that.
I like that.
And the last thing that I'd like to look at would be to align ourselves better with the Urban League, better with the NAACP, etc. Now, I don't know where it is right now, but we did have membership, a lifetime membership with NAACP. We did have membership with the Urban League and some of the other organizations. But I think it's good to mentor with the other groups. One of the things that this young man has done that's working with the program of getting, shall we say, African American men to vote, well, he aligned himself with the fraternities, sororities, etc., to get them all involved, so that when he comes in with the program, they're there. Okay. That's just some of the things that I noted down.
That's a mouthful. A few bit.
That's a mouthful.
It's quite. Mind if I keep this going? That's good, because I want to be able to go back over this. No, that was perfect, and I think what we're going to do to kind of wrap things up.
I'm not criticizing. Please, let me put that out there.
No. But
I'm just offering from my perspective what I've seen, not only, shall we say, in St. Louis, but in working with other chapters across the country. Okay.
Criticizing is not a bad thing to me. I want to preface by saying that I have some background in the culinary world. You want to make a good dish, you need God to honest truth. Does this taste right? Because we need to know what the ingredients are to make a successful dish. So what are the ingredients to have a successful organization? And again, you have been around longer than any member that I know. Okay. And you have a degree of successful, a level of creativity to create successful organizations. Okay. And you have helped started so much, as I've come to learn very recently, start up so many different organizations, programming their mission, their values, and giving direction. And that takes a good eye for knowing what works.
Okay. Taking what you just said, now keep in mind that cooking, as you mentioned, that a lot of people use recipes because the recipe has been proved. But from my school, we didn't use recipes. It's a pinch of this, a pinch of that. Taste it, see what it's like.
Yeah,
you can utilize that process in doing some of these things. Don't be afraid to, shall we say, go beyond the recipe that's been given and to try something different and see if it works.
Hey, I always say somebody had to put ketchup and mustard together, decided it was good. I don't know who it was. Very different taste, but somebody said, we should put this together. So you're absolutely right. Hey, wait, you're not wrong when you're right. Right. Who was a mentor to you as you were growing up?
Okay, as I was growing up, I didn't have any mentors in Cairo because we were lacking, shall we say, in male leadership. We had some teachers that were there to help guide you, but I didn't get it. I didn't find any mentors until much later in my life. And that's another phase of my life. I'm Presbyterian by religion, and I've held a number of positions on all of the judicatories in the Presbyterian Church. And my mentors were basically Presbyterian ministers who showed me and led me and directed me as to how I could become the person that I am today. And I still utilize a lot of things that were taught me by these Presbyterian ministers. Through them, as I say, I've had some of the highest positions in the Presbyterian Church. I've had the opportunity to travel to 12 foreign countries. I have done lectures in Zimbabwe, South Africa, Zambia. and all because of the leadership that they provided me. And my pastor was my greatest mentor here in St. Louis.
What age were you when you got like your first mentor?
Well, I was in my late 20s.
Late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So mentorship then isn't a early age process.
It is, but let's take into consideration that mentorship only came into being, shall we say, maybe 30, 35 years ago.
Okay.
And for us as African Americans, we didn't have mentors back then because everybody was on the same level. Everybody was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I couldn't tell you what to do when I didn't know myself what I was doing. Okay.
Well, yeah.
So
yeah,
mentorship is something that just came into being. For instance, where at McDonnell Douglas, when I started, I was alone. Okay, because I was in an area that there was nobody but me. Okay, as I say, I rose through the ranks to become the corporate auditor, the only African American in Boeing Company, as big as Boeing is, as a corporate auditor. But I didn't have no mentors. I had to work it out myself.
That's very common
But now we do have.
Yeah.
Now we do have. And I advise anybody starting out now to get a mentor. Okay.
What is the criteria of a good mentor?
The criteria for a good mentor is to be able to sit and listen, not to judge, to be able to listen and then to offer advice after analyzing the situation, after understanding the person, after understanding what the goals, objectives of that person may be.
That is a key. So mentorship is just about your own past experience, success. Is your ability to relate and give advice based off of your experience. That is, that's gonna be big for a lot of people. So I have just a few more. Let me get my cheat sheet out.
Wow!
Since we're about done here. What would you say your core values are right now, and how have they changed for you?
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I put this one in my notes.
My core values right now is to be truthful to myself, to do, shall we say, what I want to do, when I want to do it, knowing that I don't have to answer to anyone. I'm not looking for a job. I'm not looking for a handout. I want to be just me. Does that make sense to you?
I want that as a goal. Yes. Okay. And how has that changed from you? So
it has changed because growing up, I had to, shall we say, do a lot of things I didn't want to do. For instance, if there was a particular meeting that was being held, and I knew that for my own sustainability, for my own way of advancing, I had to go to that meeting, and I had to meet this person, that person. I don't have to do that no more.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what's changed.
And it's a master of time.
Here in St. Louis, I used to go to all the big dinners. I don't go to big dinners. I may go to one or two. That's it. I don't have to impress nobody no more.
Yeah. That is
Does it make sense to you?
It makes great sense. I love that. That is. Let me keep going. I'm gonna come back to that. How would you like to be remembered versus how you feel that you currently are being remembered or known?
I would like to be remembered as the person who did everything within my range to help other people, to offer the guidance and experience that I've gained in life to the next generation, that they may be able to carry on and to build upon that pillar that I left.
that would be a clapping moment too. So that would be a clapping moment. And what does legacy mean to you?
Legacy means what can you give, I guess I can say, to help move from your standpoint the needle as far as we as a race are concerned to that next level that will enable us as a race to advance rather than to, shall we say, go backward.
Mm.
What's in your pot that you can leave?
What's in my pocket? Yes. Mission vision. Yes. That is a legacy moment. Okay. All right. Well, Jessie, I just want to say again, thank you for taking this time. It is not anything little for me to know the value or how you value your time, for you to be able to sit here and speak with us. And I really wanted to, as I was talking about this earlier, I really wanted to be able to share this experience of being able to sit down and talk with you. I think that growing up as someone who didn't have a strong father figure at home, being a first generation of a lot of things from my family, going to college, graduating, getting the doctorates, and having to get things.
I got the doctorate yet now. I got the master's. I'm waiting for somebody to give me a doctorate.
Whoa.
I've been promised a couple times. We'll see what give them.
Yes.
Tell me, hurry up now.
Yeah, right. Call a WashU and make sure they need to make something happen. But as someone who shared that type of experience in modern day times, is to be able to find another black man who has not only lived it, but have turned those oppositions into benefits.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not just for himself, but for his community.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is outstanding. I think that we don't highlight this enough within our communities, and I wanted to be able to take this moment of time and share that with everyone in St. Louis. So it was really important to me to get here and sit with you, especially since we'll be kicking off the Community Health Day event that's coming up in September. As we're getting ready to put out all of the marketing and everything for it. I think it's really important to be able to address our leaders, the elders of our village, to make sure that we are putting our best foot forward when we're tackling these instances. So thank you so much for this. Let me ask you this, since you have traveled back and forth, is it pop or soda?
What is it?
Pop or soda?
Neither.
Neither. What do you call it?
Okay, let me back up. It is soda, but I don't drink either.
But you don't drink it. Okay, so you recognize it's a soda.
Because it's not good for you.
Exactly. All right. All right. Would you rather, because you don't like water, but if you did, still water or
bottled water? I drink bottled water.
Just bottled water?
That's all.
As long as it's bottled.
I drink bottled water. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Okay. All right.
Chocolate's not good for you.
Chocolate's
of course, they're saying now it is good for you, but it wasn't years ago. It wasn't good for you.
Yeah, they changed it up a lot.
Yeah.
Man, milk was good for you. Then now it's the wrong type of milk, and it's a lot.
Well, I drink lactate milk.
Lactate milk. Okay.
Okay.
Where would you rather go?
I don't use butter. I use margarine.
Margarine.
I don't use white bread. I use wheat bread. And other than soda, I have apple juice.
Apple juice. I was going to say apple or orange, but got that one. Okay. And I'm looking. So are you married?
No.
No. This is how you keep him away?
No, that's another phase of my life. Okay. I have had 3 long-term relationships,
Mhm.
3 very long-term relationships. Each one I buried.
Mm.
So I buried 3 long-term relationship friends, 2 from cancer and 1 from kidney problems.
Mm.
So that's a part of my life that I missed. Be good or bad. It could be good, it could be bad. What I'm seeing with the divorce rate and what's going on out here, it may have been bad. But in that process,
Yeah.
I did adopt 2 boys
Mm-hmm.
from Annie Malone Children's Home, and they are doing quite well. And of those 3 relationships, I have 1 daughter and 2 sons. I just buried 1 son again from those long-term relationships.
Mm-hmm.
However, in St. Louis, with one of my relationships, we were together for so long, most people thought we were married. We were not.
So yeah, you're basically married.
And now,
right.
I have no interest.
I was gonna say, so are you
Don't
looking?
bother
You
me.
said no?
Nope, don't bother me. I'm into
Sorry,
my
y'all.
own thing. Hey, don't get into my
Off
don't
the
get in my
market.
don't get in my space.
Again, thank you, Jesse, and we're going to try to work to get more people in here to speak with us about the 100 Black Men of Metropolitan St. Louis. We're going to get more community leaders about some of the initiatives that we are pushing forward. And again, it's always a pleasure. My name is Dr. Glenn T. Miller. I am the Health and Wellness Chair of the 100 Black Men of Metropolitan St. Louis. You can find us on our website at 100 Black Men STL. You can also make sure that you come to our Community Health Day that is going to be September the 21st. If you want to be a part of that, you can go ahead and reach us at health@100blackman.stl.com. Jesse, has been definitely a pleasure to speak with you. I hope that we get a chance to talk about this more, maybe with the next guest. If you wanted to sit in with us, definitely welcome.
No, thank you very, very much. I hope it's been helpful.
Very much.
Anytime.
Anytime. Well, thank you so much. Just want to.
Thank you.
We will. We'll do this again soon, man. Like I said, my goal is to do it at least maybe once a quarter
Okay.
to bring somebody in to speak with them, so we can.
Okay. Very good, sir.